what's happening in the regulatory environment has a huge impact on our business. And I think there are two major things right now that we are keeping an eye on. The first of which is the GSEs.
Yes. The GSE merger, that seems like it changes every day.
Yeah.
It feels like
merger, IPO,
yeah,
whatever it may be.
and it seems like the industry, from what I've been reading, is very against a merger. There is one gentleman who has a lot of stock in both, who seems to be the one really pushing for this. And I've seen this from multiple parties and all of that. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But it seems like everyone wants some competition, and we should really, it seems like it's pretty well established in the industry to not combine them.
Yep. Although the industry is very much pro ending conservatorship, I think doing it and keeping them separate is really the preference, so we can keep some competition and liquidity in the market.
How do you feel about a November IPO?
I didn't even know that's
been tossed around.
To happen. I thought it was the spring.
We moved it up. Yeah. I think it's too quick. I think that's like the biggest thing is these organizations are not small. Right. And I think to ask them to move that quickly is just
there's like we said before, there's so many mixed signals and missed messages and confusion with all of this of, Pulte was saying that they weren't going to touch the GSEs for a little while, and now we're back here. So, it's going to change 100 more times before it settles to where it's going to be.
100%.
MBA analysts have come out in a Housing Wire interview and said ending conservatorship is fine, but definitely let's keep the competition of not merging them. Question for you both on the IPO by November. Do you think that being too quick like that is a feature or a bug?
Bug.
I would agree with bug. I think there's just no way for it to be done right in that timeline.
Yeah. And I think the cost of getting it wrong, and the market does not love uncertainty, and anything that is then going to disrupt the market will slow down mortgage volume, increase rates, and those are things that are not good. So, certainly there is a too slow, but I don't think waiting a few more months till the spring is really that, personally.
No.
And as far as regulation goes, with so many of these changes involving either liquefying staff or really reducing staff, I would love to get your take on one of the things that's been a big talking point, both with this administration and the last couple of years, and its efficiency. And I wonder about kind of the relationship between structural efficiency and adequate staffing, the balance between the two, and how we can gauge those in our industry.
I mean, the CFPB cut staffing. I think it came out yesterday.
They got the approval to cut 90% staffing. Yeah.
And when you look at some of the numbers, it's a lot, right? And I just don't think that level of cut is going to be sustainable long term. And I think if we see an administration shift in the future, I think that is something you'll see almost probably go in the other way really dramatically.
I mean, maybe. And I think when you see, those cuts happening, if they do happen at the GSE, I think Pulte was calling them obese at one point in a spring conference, right? And any large organization is probably in need of having some cuts, right? That's just kind of the nature of large organizations and large groups of people. But, you look at what suffers when that happens and you lose that institutional knowledge, lack of quality, lack of liquidity in the market. Once again, that just the risk of what happens when these things go on are not great. So I think that's kind of a concern going forward, is what's going to happen if, you're making these changes with a machete instead of a scalpel.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we've brought this up before too, but if you take away that enforcement from a federal level, you are going to see states start to get involved.
Yeah.
And it's going to really depend on what state you're doing business in.
Yep. And I mean, every lender knows statute of limitations will just go back to their last audit anyway. So I don't know if it's really going to change the market or things that much. So I know we're kind of convoluting two things here with the CFPB and the GSEs, but they're both kind of very impactful things for what it means to operate in the mortgage industry.
Yep.